Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining again, Mastermind Monday series here with the New England region. I just wanted to say thank you again to Nora and Kelly, who are education co-chairs, who continually amaze me with the lineup of people that we have to share with you, their talents, their stories. And again, we have another outstanding guest, which you're going to learn about in just a few minutes. I just wanted to say that because of this pandemic, we have out-achieved our reach that we do every year with our local region. We try to give you so much availability to classes and events, and with 2 more meetings, we'll have overcome that particular reach historically by way of having these meetings. So thank you for your attendance. Continue to spread the word and invite others. And as you know, these are recorded and we place them on our group page for our CRS group. So you'd have to join that page in order to see those repeats. So without further ado, I want to turn over the meeting to Nora and Kelly.
Kelly, I'm so excited. I'm going to actually have you introduce Kurt. And we're so excited to have Kurt here. And I know you just came off of another MAR meeting. So thanks for being with us, Kurt.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Nora, we're so lucky because of the vast amount of talent that we have right here in our New England region. So we're really excited to bring it home this week with the president of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors, Kurt Thompson. And he's a stranger to nobody. I can remember when I first got the phone call from CRS in Chicago, and they were like, "Why aren't you a CRS?" And I happened to meet Kurt somewhere, and I said, "Do you think that you have any information you could share with me about why I want to be CRS?" Oh my goodness, did Kurt have the info. It's no surprise that in 2014, he was the Massachusetts CRS of the Year. In 2012, he was the Massachusetts Realtor of the Year. And, you know, we sit here and we see Kurt absolutely everywhere, and then find out that he has this extremely profitable team in the real estate world. And how is he doing it? And Kurt, we want to know more about how you're able to stay home and profit. What do you got for us?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it. Nora and Cheryl, thank you for bringing this incredible education to our members on a weekly basis. Most important thing before I get started is I just want to say being a CRS was the best business decision I ever made in my real estate career. And I would not have the success I had today if it was not for great programs through CRS and a lot of good information that was provided by other CRSs over the years. So today I'm going to touch base on stay home and profit, the secret to leverage. I'm going to talk very quickly, but definitely look forward to your answers afterwards. The most important thing is I think that when you're talking about knowledge and wisdom, it really comes down to concepts and ideas. That's the most important thing. So I want to share 2 quick things with you. The first thing is you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and millions of dollars over your career and never leave your home. Please recognize that the reason we leave our house is not because of what our clients need, but because of what we need. And that's a very important concept. The other thing is a quote by Eugene Ionesco, and it says, "It's not the answers that enlighten us, but the questions." And if we spend more time on good questions, everything else will naturally follow. For me, that was a question in 2012. I wanted to do 500 transaction sides in a year, but do it working less than 20 hours a week. And I asked myself, what would my business need to look like to do that? I couldn't do it working the business the way I had been to that point. There was just no way to be able to handle all aspects of the transaction from concept to close and be able to get to a business that would do that type of volume and give me that type of work-life balance. So I determined through research and understanding that the only way to do it would be through leveraging people and systems. If you think about what we have available for time, we all have a ceiling in terms of what we can get done. We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, which roughly translates to 80 hours a year. Or if you take a couple weeks off vacation, you have about 2,000 hours a year that you can be productive. My current team has about 4 key members on it, including a listing manager, a transaction coordinator, and a lead buyer specialist. So with 4 members of our team, we really have about $8,000, 8,000 hours per year to be able to work on systems and processes. So when you evaluate your business, if you're looking to grow or do something that's significant, that's the first critical thing. You've got to understand that you need more hours in your day and you can't get them personally. So the only way to do that is through leveraging people. The other thing you'll find is there's a synergy that comes through leverage and working with other people. And it really creates, in my opinion, a 1.25 or 1.5 effect for each member in terms of their productivity. So our 4-member team really effectively operates with like 6 members as opposed to the 4, because you're really using some economies of scale in terms of how you're approaching workflow. The root of this concept is not new. It falls back to the Industrial Revolution and specificity of labor. If you think of the auto industry or manufacturing organizations, you don't have one worker starting a car and taking it all the way through concept until the car is done and it's going to the sales floor. That would be crazy. Yet that's what we continue to do many times in our own real estate businesses. A team is very different from a group of agents working together or a brokerage. And while there are similarities in the distinct differences, there are some brokerages that are also operating as teams, and they run their businesses closer to that model. But here's a key difference. A brokerage deploys a group of individual agents that are working on all aspects from concept to close with various levels of support. In a team model, you're breaking up the different aspects of the transaction so that no one agent is handling all aspects of that transaction. The downside to a team model is that it requires a high level of systemization and coordination to remain seamless to the client and the consumer, and there is a cost to doing that. The upside is, again, you're going to see a significant productivity boost from each of your members on the team, better work-life balance, and most importantly, it is scalable with unlimited potential. So if you're really only limited, in my opinion, in our real estate business by your vision and your ability to take action. Don't just think about it in terms, and we hear this all the time, is I'm the local market expert, which is a fantastic concept when you're offering very deep knowledge to a specific consumer in a specific marketplace. But I want you to think more about, what would my business look like if I was operating in multiple states or globally, if that's what you want to do. And if you start thinking that way, it really does open up your mind to different questions that you would want to ask to make sure that you are pushing things in the right direction. So the huge stumbling block is delegation. We're all type A personalities. No one can do it better than us, and our clients just simply won't work with somebody else. But you got to know that that's ego and that's not real fact. I have found many times that others will do things better than I will, or will find new ways that I may not have thought of doing them and bring new energy into the business model. And there's areas where they struggle. And in those cases, you retool the processes of the systems and you add a person. In the old days, I typically would work listing side only, 20 to 30 hours. It would take me for concept, measurements, writing descriptions, entering in the MLS, creating marketing materials, marketing online, showing the property, negotiating offers, P&S, sitting inspections, appraisals, smoke, all of that stuff. And if you divide what you're making by 30 or 40 hours you're putting into the transaction, you're going to get $1 amount. These days, what I typically do is I do the initial listing appointment, I communicate weekly with my clients, and I negotiate contracts, and I attend closing, although not closings that much this often because of COVID-19, but that takes me down to probably about 4 to 7 hours most per transaction. There's some transactions where I'm 3 to 5 hours on a specific transaction, and you can imagine what that does to your ROI. Now, there are expenses of having a team. I'm not going to get into the costs at this point, but we can always answer questions. I want you to remember that the average realtor is only doing 1 transaction a year, and you as a CRS are far from average. So you remember, you're not in competition with other agents. You're really in competition with yourself and getting the mind space into the position of where you can really take advantage of this incredible business we are and take it to the next level of success. So let's talk about what we're doing, staying at home to really leverage systems at people at this point. Lead generation systems, I'm not going to talk to significantly. That's a whole different conversation. Just know that there are literally dozens and hundreds of different ways that you can generate leads and implement different marketing channels and verticals into your business model. Lead conversion systems are probably one of the #1 things you need. Speed to lead is critical. I know I used to talk to my team about it being 5 minutes or less. These days, it's seconds. There's companies that are able to deliver speed to lead in 7 seconds or less, which is amazing. CRM and management is critical. Most agents do not have a lead generation issue. They have a lead conversion and a lead management over time issue, and making sure that they have a value proposition and are delivering valuable materials over that period to make sure that they're engaging the consumer when they enter their window. So what's changed recently? Seller intake process. We've gone to all virtual intake meetings by Zoom on the buy side as well. Typically, I'd spend 2 hours in the living room because I like to talk. You have travel time there, travel time back, which adds to that. These days, we're doing it virtually, and most of our meetings are taking about 45 minutes to an hour maximum. It's a better experience for the consumer. They can view the materials online, and you can have a real dialogue, much better than being masked up when you're in person. We're doing virtual walkthroughs by FaceTime. I listed a property that I had not walked in prior to it going live. The seller took us on a walkthrough with FaceTime on his iPhone. We did the virtual intake meeting by Zoom. We sent documents for online electronic signature. What we are doing is we're better qualifying buyers, buyers that are touring homes also. We're making sure that they're reviewing the online photos and the documents. They're driving by the locations, that they're pre-approved and have proof of funds in hand. COVID-19 certifications, and also making sure that they've hit the prerequisites are critical to our making sure that we're only going into the field and spending time with highly qualified buyers and sellers that are really ready to take action. That's the big difference. I don't think that that's going to change these days. 90%, almost 100% of what we can do is online. The only thing you can't physically do is take a buyer through a property, and there's ways to leverage other people to be able to accomplish that. Everything else you can do from home. And that concludes my time.
Oh, Nora, do you have some questions there for
There are some questions.
That was awesome.
That was
I am
great.
sorry. I'm like, I had like a half hour worth of material. I was like, crunch.
I love it. I love the time management.
We'll probably hit a couple of the things that you wanted to maybe touch on. So Kelly
Yes.
had a question and I had a question actually too. How do you find your team members, for example, is one of them.
Very carefully. So the hardest thing I ever had to do was to find my transaction coordinator, my executive director. That took me about 6 to 8 years to find the right person to put into that position. Your administrative hire is your most important thing and person, and I would recommend that they are a licensed realtor who no longer wants to sell, has that knowledge base, but has the ability to be able to step in and be you. That physically takes you out of the need to go out of the field into the field on almost every aspect.
All right, thank you. And then we have another question from Kelly. How many people are on your team?
So we currently are a team of 6. So I have my executive director and my my director of buyer services. Both are 40-hour-a-week W-2 employees that also hold real estate licenses. My executive director does not sell at all. My lead buyer specialist does. And I also have a listing manager who's many of you met at Celebration, Tom Blake, who's just been knocking the cover off the ball. You met Tom.
I met Tom. I love Tom.
Tom converted 2 listings this week that I listed. First time I met the seller was when I stepped into their living room for their presentation, and I probably have had less than 2 hours with that seller to date, and they're all thrilled.
Wow.
And then Cheryl had a question, Kurt. Do you have a checklist for every activity? For example, a sauna, or do you have like a group, check-in, so to speak?
We do. So your transaction control technology is critical. We use a company called App Files. I like it because it's very flexible and it's very inexpensive. It's like $200. I think it's $189 per month, but it allows us to flow all of our stuff in there, strip documents, task each other, do everything. We also use Brivity on our front end for lead management, and that works really well. We may cut over from app files to Brivity entirely at one point, but we're still in the process of that transition. But it's critical with a team. Everybody needs to know exactly what's happening and have access to that information. It can't be that one person knows what's going on and nobody else does.
And then Kelly had a question. What are you using for speed to lead?
So what we do is we have the system, we have the lead go out to 4 of us. So it goes out to all 4 on the key team, and usually one of us is able to get the call returned within 5 minutes. That's the critical thing. And one of the things I've heard early is with speed to lead, what you're trying to do is actually block out the other 7 agents that are going to call them at the exact same time when they get the lead. So if you're the first one and you're on the phone with them, the other agents are just bouncing into voicemail. The other second thing and most important is that I would say 60% or 70% of those agents that call when they get the initial lead will never follow up a second time. And we just took a listing that's going live next Tuesday because a person said, I got 10 calls. You were the only group that called back the second time. So,
Wow.
Okay.
yeah.
Lynn has a question. Could you refer a good tutorial to learn how to work a virtual CMA? For example, a screen share presentation.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different tools out there. So I'm a big fan of Toolkit CMA, which is a little antiquated. That shows the age of my business. Tom's been using Cloud CMA, which is part of MLS PIN, and he's been having a lot of good luck on that. We have a similar product in Brivity that we use that does very similar to what Cloud CMA does. And we're finding that the benefit of using an online CMA as opposed to just a virtual portal is that you now can have interactive communication with that client and continue to deliver information about similar homes to theirs in their market on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, which continues to keep you in contact with that client after the initial CMA.
Okay,
So,
great.
I would say Cloud CMA is probably the easiest. It's free. You have it as a realtor, and it's a pretty good product.
And then Beverly had a question. Thank you, Kurt, for that. Do you have a non-compete and/or confidentiality agreement with all the team members?
I love that question. No, I do not, and I don't think they're necessary if you're doing 2 things. If you're really building a team, because the reality is, anyone's going to leave you. I don't try to handcuff my people. I try to build good value and good culture so that they want to stay. And the other thing is, don't be afraid of competition. I literally could give you every single thing we're doing, and I could give you every piece of information and not have to worry about it, because 98% of the agents in the market will never do anything with the information. It will sit on a shelf of projects that they'd like to do someday, but they won't actually take it and implement it. So for that reason, I'm not worried about somebody leaving it. And better yet, if I had a team member that went off and started their own team and was wildly successful, that would be the most successful thing I could do, because it means we weren't just successful for the beginning of their career, but we really established their ability to move forward and to provide for their family.
That's very gracious of you, Kurt. So that's terrific. Any other questions? I'm hoping I didn't miss anything on the chat for questions. I think we've covered most of them, or if not all of them.
I have a quick one for Kurt.
Yes.
Kurt, when you're hiring people, what are you using as your tool of measure? Do you use a DISC profile, or what do you use?
Great question. So the first thing I did, and this is again, delegate, delegate, delegate. I took myself out of the hiring process because I like everybody. So I hired everybody. And, some of them did well, some of them failed miserably. We have one agent that just wasn't a good personality match for us, but he has a team of 5 agents, and he's been in the business for less than 2.5 years now. So he was able to learn what he needed from us and be able to go into the business. And he did, I think, 56 transactions his second year. So the answer to your question, go back to the hiring question.
Yeah.
Yes, use processes. We use DISC analysis. We use AVAs, which is a KW product to evaluate. We take them through hoops. My executive director interviews them first, and my team members interview them first. And then if they like them or think they're a good match, they then lift them up to me. But the majority of people I look for are people that we know already, agents we've encountered in the field and we feel are a good culture match to us, or someone we know. We do not recruit, period, paragraph, for someone I don't know to get on my team if we don't have a need that we're going out to. Likely is not going to happen. We're not hiring. We expand as we need to provide better service to our clients.
Awesome. I love that. So are you using checklists on every single process that you have? Have you ingrained it that well?
Yeah, standard operating procedures and check sheets are critical. So we actually have check sheets. We have dates and the initials next to them. So whichever team member does it can initial and check off so that we know who did it and that it's been done. And we flow through the workforce, through the workflow. So Tom, who's my listing manager, does all the pre-check sheet stuff. It then comes into our marketing coordinator, who picks up as soon as it's live in the system. And then once it's under agreement, our transaction coordinator kicks in. So we have about 3 or 4 different check sheets that get picked up on. And depending, if someone's in there and can do it, they just do it. It's not, it's my job or it's your job. The job is to make sure that our clients have the best client experience possible. And we all have to be fully committed to make sure that happens.
Very cool. Nora, you had another question. What was it that you just typed over?
I don't think I did, actually. We had the non-competes, and I think, Kurt, did you touch, I think you did touch on the breakout of your team, right? Out of the 6 people.
So, sorry. So for the core, I also have 2 buyer agents on the team. One was one of our admin people that decided that she wanted to be an agent on the team, and she's what I call a balanced agent. We don't typically force them either buy side or sell side. We allow them to do both. The ones that are in team do specialize in list side or buy side. The other 2 agents are balanced agents. One was an admin on our team who still does well, and she's her own agent. And the other one was an agent that we rescued. We saw her in the field and she was having some challenges, but we really liked her. So we took her under our wing because she was a good culture match to our company.
That's terrific. Does anyone have any more questions before we?
Another one there.
Can I throw one last thing out, which I blew over really fast, but was really important?
Sure.
The virtual component of Zoom meeting is a game changer. And if you are not having Zoom meetings with your clients, you're missing something, because it's more effective, it's more efficient, and it's a better client experience. And we're finding that our buyers and our sellers are really liking that. You're still going to meet with them at some point in the field, but that initial intake, you can go from 2 to 3 hours to 45 minutes and be just as effective in what you're doing.
And actually, and Kurt, one more question from Cheryl. How much time do you dedicate to your volunteer and leadership positions?
So I'm scared to tell people or they won't volunteer. So the reality is, if you're going to be in volunteer leadership at any level, and I know that you know this very specifically from all the incredible things you're doing with CRS, there is an impact. You're going to spend time in doing that. I would say right now, I probably spend about 20 hours a week actively in the business and probably about 20 hours a week in governance. And then I'd say maybe about 10 to 15 hours in strategic planning or trying to do implementation from a team level point of view. I like working 50 to 60 hours, but that's about the time breakdown right now.
And I have to thank you so much for your leadership. It's been incredible. So thank you for that time.
Oh, thank you. Well, we've got great members. I mean, it's just a pleasure to be of service. And I'll tell you, I learned more from you by some of the incredible conversations that I have with you over the years and in the field and at conventions. And hopefully we'll see everybody in Nashville, Tennessee next. Then I do many times by studying, right?
Absolutely. So, I'm excited. I'm going. You going?
We're registered. We registered when we were at the last one. I always do that right away.
Oh my goodness. Nora, this was another fantastic week. We're super excited to have people like Kurt. I'm going to go through, a couple of things that we've already done before we pass this off. But Kurt, you were awesome being able to bring leverage into this. What we've done every week is we've highlighted a different component of a realtor's business and how could they be doing it better. So I think today you gave a lot of great tips and systems. We had last week Gonzalo Maya from Florida came up, and I see our good friend Kim Knapp from Florida is with us here today. But Gonzalo brought forward Profit with Global Business. The week before, I did virtually speaking. Pam Ruggiero, who I also see in our call today, she gave a great presentation on community giving and referrals. Also, Kim Cameron, another CRS instructor, did lean business. We've had Joe Scoot do virtual open house success. Alex Camilio, securitize your business in the virtual marketplace. Laura Monroe from Inman joined us to do remarketing you in today's real estate market. And Marie Presti had done the SBA and the PPP. So we've covered so much, but we still have some more going forward in the weeks to come. Next week, we're bringing up Addie Owens, who talked about celebration. Anybody that went to CRS Celebration this year, Addie took the stage and she gave a great presentation on resiliency, and she's going to bring some great tips to you for the bounce back as you pivot in 2020. Following her, we've got Katie Lance with Social Smarts, and then we have two more great local speakers that are going to be sharing some great tips for our realtors coming in July, and that is Sarah Gustafson. Sarah has done a fantastic job building her business through BNI. And the way that BNI has changed through the COVID process, coming online with their meetings and their networking, their connecting, I think our CRS members can get some great value out of that. And then my dear friend from Cape Cod and a stranger nobody here, Katie Clancy. Katie's got some great tips that she's going to be bringing to the table as well. So with that, Cheryl, we're going to pass this back to you, and Nora and I will see everybody next Monday.
Thank you so much, Kelly, Nora, and Kurt. As always, amazing. A true mentor to many, including myself. I honor you. Awesome. I want to take a minute or two just to highlight some other people on our leadership team and network directors. In my portion, I'm supposed to just remind you about upcoming classes we have that you can find crs.com under the New England region. And on June 24th, we have a virtual summit from 9 to 5 that you definitely want to sign up for. It's free for members, 55 to non-members. And so can I call on our South Shore Network Director, Christine McClellan, to announce an event that's going to be virtually held in the South Shore?
Sure. On Thursday, June 25th, from 9 to 1:30, there's a 4-hour designation credit course being done virtually for $39, best deal you've ever seen, with Mike Burkhart. And it's the grass is greener. So it's all about the issues related to grow houses, property values, crime, property management, and considerations of the marijuana industry, houses, farms, dispensaries, and legal pitfalls, and all about financing. So it should be great if you know someone who is in an area where that is very common. It's open to everybody, CRS members and non-members, South Shore Realtor members, and people who are not members of South Shore Realtors for that $39. So it's a great deal. I can paste the link in the chat if you want, but it's definitely worth your time. Back to you, Cheryl.
You're muted, Cheryl. You're muted.
Hi, here I am. I just wanted to introduce Lisa Parento, our president-elect, president for 2021. She's been working on want to let us all know?
Sure. I mean, it's definitely a team effort. So, one of the things that we love to do in CRS is R&D, also known as rip off and duplicate. And my good friend in Florida, Bonnie Metz. Keep getting muted. Florida, my friend Bonnie in Florida shared with me a process that they go through down there where they invite every member in the state, in their case, region and ours, to apply, go through an application process for committee chairs and committee members for the upcoming year, network directors. So we've put together an application. We've also put together a nominating committee, which is going to be consisting of the president-elect, the president, and our regional vice president, Kim. And so that's just something we're going to be sending out to all 1,160 members. We're going to be promoting it all over social media. We're hoping to really continue to open up the leadership and committee to all members and really grow grow some real critical mass in the region. And the applications are going to be going out July 1. We're going to ask that they come back August 3rd, and then we'll be doing the interviewing during the month of August and be ready to hit the ground running in September. So please consider that. Even if you just want to try something new or a skill set that you already have, it's a Google form. It's going to be real simple, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to work with you in the coming years. And I just want to take one moment again to thank Cheryl for her vision for this process, Kelly and Nora for your consistency and your amazing content, and Kurt, I don't know how you do it. I think there might be like a cutout of Kurt that's just kind of showing up in places, because we all just got off an amazing opening session for the first ever virtual MAR Day on the Hill keynote speaker session, and Kurt was there as well. So you haven't moved, Kurt. You're just going from one camera to another. We appreciate your dedication. As Cheryl said, you're a mentor to us all. And thank you. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for everybody for showing up today.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
So next I want you to hear quickly from our membership chair, Keith. Unmute Keith. There you go.
There we go. All right, I'll go quick. On Facebook, I have been putting a couple member benefits of the week. However, kind of a testimonial, the one we all know, referral. I had a out-of-state referral the other day. I called him up and I already knew, educated, already knew he knew what he was doing. He handled it perfectly. It's everything you want in a referral versus just flipping through your brokerage's referral network and hoping you get somebody who knows what they're doing. Professional, funny. He was just great. It's kind of we all know that benefit, but I'm telling you, I mean, if you've ever sent a referral to a CRS and a non-CRS, you know what I'm talking about. Last thing, Kurt, I love that tie.
Okay, and lastly, I wanted to hear from our national president, who's able to join us, Richard Waystack.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I missed much of it. I was at a closing. But I wanted to announce, many of you might have gotten an email today. I'm putting together a PAG relative to our election process for RRC National. And we've got such diverse leadership here in New England. Obviously, I'll be looking at some of our folks from New England to be involved. So if you're interested in looking at our process, send in an application. We had some challenges this year on our national election, and the process, it's 2 years old. We need to tweak it a bit so that we can involve as many of our members as possible. And we have a very small turnout of our members being involved. We want to change that. So any of you who have an interest in serving on a presidential advisory group, I'd love to have you. Send your applications in. We'll be choosing those members in the next couple of weeks. So Cheryl, Nora, Kelly, you guys doing an exceptional job. The speakers have been excellent. Kurt I've had the good fortune of working with over the years, and his passion for this industry is tremendous, as is all of yours. So it's good to see everybody. And Cheryl, again, great job. Continued success in this program. I hope you continue it throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Richard. So in our wrap up, I just want to thank everybody for doing all that you do, for participating, for sharing. Please get involved. When you see that survey go out from Lisa, please fill in where you think you could fit in, or any ideas that you have. Anybody that volunteers in these positions, we do it because we want to make the world in real estate a little bit better. So everybody has a pearl, and we just want to discover it. So everybody, please stay safe, stay well. I know you're all getting very, very busy. I appreciate the time you take to join in with us every Monday. Take care.
Great job.
Thanks, Kurt. You're awesome. Good job, Keith. Thanks, Christine. Good to see you, Todd.